Yeah. Well, like, I don't want to eat a hot dog with a face on it.
No.
Hey, that's what they did in a sausage party.
No. No, 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 no.
No, let's not talk about that movie.
About sausage party.
Out here in the fields, I found my meals. My shoes are filled and I'm ready to kill. And I can't get enough and I can't get the feelings. When I was a little bitty baby, my mama would rock me in the cradle. Came to the point where I'm no fun anymore.
Wow, listen to the way the artist intended to. This album doesn't look very interesting. It's just a brown paper bag. It's what's behind the bag that counts. Oh, hey, look at that. Alright, welcome back, everyone. It is the final episode of the Led Zeppelin series. We're going to get the let out one last time with In Through the Outdoor, and this is going to be the very big conclusion. I know there's also Coda, but we've decided not to do that one. That episode may show up randomly sometime in the future, but as far as the series now is concerned, this is the last episode. We're going to be starting the Beach Boys and Rush after this.
Yes.
I'm really excited about that. This is the first full discography that we've completed on the SoundLab Studios channel, so I'm excited to do that after going through just random albums to finally knock out a full discography. It gives me hope for other projects that we're doing on this channel or other channels like the Rolling Stones, which have 1 million albums, or Beatles, things like that. Anyway, the final Led Zeppelin album, In Through the Outdoor. So, this is my copy. The album, before we get into it, I want to talk a little bit about the packaging to this album. I think it won a Grammy for Best Album Packaging. This was not the original paper bag it came in. It came in a paper bag, and all that was stamped on it was, in purple letters, Led Zeppelin In Through the Outdoor. This is a paper bag that I got from my local record store that I just recreated. I wrote it myself on there. Terrible handwriting. Here's the album. The gimmick for this album is that there were several different cover variations of this album, and you didn't know which one you were going to get until you ripped open the paper bag. So there are several different people in this bar scene, and each of the cover variations is a point of view from each of the people in this scene. And it's all centered around this guy in the middle. It's a black and white photo, but there's one swipe of color over this guy who's got a Dear John letter in his hand. His girlfriend just broke up with him and he's upset. So everyone else, you get the point of view of everyone else in the bar. This one is told from the person in the corner. You look in the back, this is told from the lady sitting in the back. That's her perspective on the back.
Mine is the opposite of Scott's. So my front cover is the one with the lady sitting on the stool, and in the back is this gentleman.
That's the cool thing is that they have twice as many different variations because they have, like, the front could be the back or the back could be the front on different ones. So I'm not going to go through all of them, but they'll just say there's a lot of different variations. I put a picture in the back of some of the different variations. And then when you get on the inside, you get this black and white inner sleeve, which the front cover is a clue, the little swipe of color, that if you take something that's slightly wet and swipe it over the inner sleeve, it will turn colors.
So here's mine.
Tyler's has the colors activated.
Yeah, color. Okay.
Yeah, I took a little rag and I just damped it and I just wiped it on this. And so yeah, it's got the nice colors.
And this is this is the perspective outside the bar where, as you see, the robot is.
The robot is. He's
the
about
robot's
to
just about to
grab into
bust
the
in.
bar.
Yeah,
Oh,
this is,
the queen robot.
it's canon. This was
It's
2
our
years
truth.
after. Yep.
I guess Queen was performing at that bar that day. Anyway. Oh, Jason, wait, were you about to say something?
Now I want a Queen Led Zeppelin mashup or something like them combined for an album and see what it sounds like.
Oh, no. Oh my gosh,
Wow.
that would be awesome.
That would be crazy.
I'm sure.
Let's work together on.
Wow.
Bum, bum, bum. Ba-dum, bum, bum, ba-dum. Ah! Anyway, so before we get in with the album real quick, I don't want to put Briar on the spot, but did you have any background information for this album?
Cue the theme song.
Okay, here we go. We're gonna get to our background information.
Background information.
All right. Okay, so this album came out in August 22nd, 1979. So a 3-year gap between this and Presence. So what has happened since then? Well, just doing what they normally do, lots of touring still. However, there were two big things that really affected them. The first was there was like a whole tax thing in England, so they just were like, okay, let's not record in England anymore because we're definitely not gonna pay those taxes. So that was one thing. The second big thing, and this was more of a tragic thing, but of course Robert Plant lost his son Tarek at a very young age in 1977. So that was a huge blow to Robert there, and so they kind of had time to kind of cope with that. But by 78, they were ready to start recording again. And because they weren't going to record in England, they needed a place to record. And they decided to record in Stockholm, Sweden. And what's even more interesting is that it's actually the same studio that ABBA recorded their albums in. So that's kind of
Yes. Yes.
right.
Now we need an album mashup.
Yes.
Yeah, that'd be cool.
Yes.
I
That's
mean,
awesome.
I think Robert Plant was a fan of ABBA, so.
As he
Yeah,
should.
There we go.
As he should. That's Slade.
Yeah, good taste.
That info, Slade.
Yeah. All right. Okay. So they actually recorded this in 3 weeks. 3 weeks it took to record this. And this was actually kind of different from all the other albums. The main thing is that Jimmy Page, normally he would be the main guy in charge, but he was kind of sidelined during this recording because it was around this time him and Bonham were kind of going through their own addictions. Of course, Bonham we know is all about alcohol, but Page was really starting to get into heroin at this point. And so he was not quite up to par like he normally would. So it's really up to John Paul Jones. This is when he really got to step in and really take charge more and really got to be more involved in the composition side of things. And of course Robert Plant as well. Like Robert and John were definitely the two big players in this one. So there you go. So they recorded the album. The title Into the Outdoor, from what I could gather, came about again with all that stuff that was going on and trying to stay relevant in the because by this point punk was starting to really take hold, and also a bit of new wave was also becoming popular, and so all this trying to be relevant and stay in the public mind, it was them trying to, they kind of describe it as trying to get in through the outdoor, basically. And because they weren't in England, so there we go. And no, it's not because of the other meaning behind that phrase, which I'm not going to get into because it's very inappropriate. But regardless, when it released critically, it was kind of mixed. It wasn't, people didn't hate it, people didn't like it. It was like kind of somewhere in the middle. But that said, commercially, it did really well. It got to #1 in both the US and UK, so it definitely was still sold a lot. And I have read this is like it's like second place of their least sold albums, but but I think it's one of those albums where it's kind of, you hear different perspectives on it. So there's some people that defend this album, and some people really don't care for this album. But you know, it's them still experimenting. They're still playing around with new sounds, especially with the keyboards on this album.
Bless you.
Thank you.
Yeah, and yeah, it's kind of what Led Zeppelin could have sounded like if they had continued into the '80s, is what most people would say. But you know, other than that, there you go. That is the background info that I have today.
Of course, sadly, they couldn't continue into the 80s because
Mm-hmm.
the year after it was released, John Bonham died. So
Right.
they decided
While
John
they're
Bonham
touring,
was
probably, right?
yeah. While they were they'd
Yeah.
already from what
They were
I've
planning a
gathered
tour.
they had already
Yeah.
done a few tour dates for In Through the Outdoor in the UK, and they were getting ready for their North American tour, and it actually sold tickets already. And what's making me upset is they wanted the centerpiece of that concert to be a live version of Carousel Ambra. I'm never going to get to hear that live. But John Bonham died, and they had to cancel all of their North American tour dates. And then shortly after, a statement was released that Bonham was such an important part of the band that they just couldn't go on without him, so broke up the band. Anyway, before we get into the track by track, do we have just any kind of brief thoughts about the album as a whole? Like
I do.
introduction.
I do. I think this is a really good album. Yeah, I don't get the hate for it. This is a really strong album for them. Really great way to end off a otherwise great discography. Yeah, I quite like it. I do have a couple of problems, but it'll be towards the end.
Yeah, I really enjoyed this album. I can kind of see why people don't like it because it's more keyboard dominated than guitar dominated. But other than that, I really love this album. It's one I listen to a lot, maybe more than I should because there's more albums. But yeah, this is a really unique sounding album in Led Zeppelin's run, and it's a major improvement over their previous album, which I think is a really big step down from Physical Graffiti. This is a really good move forward.
Yeah, considering I really dislike their last album, Presence, this was a big step up. I don't understand why this album is so hated. I don't know if it's because of the use of keyboards. I know some of the songs have synthesizers on them. I don't know if that was the case, but
Yeah.
I think this is a great album. Really great showcase, especially for John Paul Jones. He did some great stuff on this album, and I'm gonna say this is, my opinion, this is their most underrated album. I think it's a really good album as a whole.
Yeah.
Yeah.
For me, much like Houses of the Holy, this album is very experimental, and that's the kind of side of Led Zeppelin that I like. Houses of the Holy and Through the Outdoor and Physical Graffiti are all experimental albums. I can see where people are like, what? This doesn't sound like blues rock, because it's not, but it's something different. They're going for a different sound. I like how they handle the new sounds, adding keyboards in there, doing some 50s tributes, adding Latin elements, even like disco beats. So
Synthesizer.
synthesizers. Ah!
That's the Genius's least favorite Zeppelin album. Then,
But yeah, I like their new sound, and it gives me hope that there could have been a good sounding Led Zeppelin in the '80s if Bonham had lived on, and maybe they would have done well at Live Aid and would have practiced then. Who knows? And for those who don't know, Led Zeppelin's Live Aid performance, they pretty much didn't practice till right before, and they sounded awful. And especially since their first song they did was "It's Been a Long Time Since I Rock and Rolled," which everyone could tell.
Yeah, not lying there.
Yeah, so you would say around this time, I mean, the Police are big, Van Halen, the
Mhm.
Cars
Yeah.
are coming out at the
Yep.
time.
Music-
So that's kind of the
Clash.
direction. So that's the direction the music is going, probably at that
Right.
time.
Yeah, at
New
least
wave.
Yeah, that was the whole British scene at the time.
Yeah.
New wave and punk.
hmm
Yeah, rock was kind of on its way out at the time.
Yeah, especially the more experimental stuff.
Mm.
Yeah,
Everything
this
more
is
the more
much
simpler
Blues
things now.
rock. as you were saying, right?
Yeah.
It seems more pop than the other albums. I don't know.
Yeah, it definitely is
Yeah.
a more commercial leaning bit,
Mhm.
especially on a few songs.
I don't think we
Yeah.
see another blues-based rock album until like Guns N' Roses in '87,
And maybe Whitesnake.
maybe Whitesnake.
Okay.
Back in Black, maybe, I don't know. They do blues. at
Mm.
some
Oh,
point.
yeah, back
AC/DC
in
are pretty bluesy.
AC/DC stick to their guns.
Blues.
They don't
Yeah,
venture too far from their
Time
sound.
too, probably, right?
Yeah,
Well, no,
Highway to Hell's coming out same year as Into the Outdoor, so they're getting really
Yeah.
big.
Yeah. Okay.
Mm.
So yeah, AC/DC is also big. Yeah, that's interesting.
Yeah, the music landscape is changing in '79.
Mhm.
It's crazy.
Pink Floyd released The Wall, which is a big rock opera, which is very different than
yeah.
their earlier stuff.
Yeah. Yeah.
Shall we
I'm
do
guessing
it?
Genesis is doing their thing. Rush is doing their thing around this time. And
Oh yeah, Permanent Waves is being recorded during this time and released the next year.
Yeah.
And Genesis put out Follow You, Follow Me, which is going to kickstart their pop career.
more pop. Yeah. Yeah.
Okay,
Shall we
So-
do this?
yes. Here we go. We are going to get the let out for the final time. Jacob, thank you very much for saying that you would join a Led Zeppelin series, not realizing that it was going to start your involvement with more videos.
Yeah, I was.
It's been a real pleasure having you in these videos.
I appreciate that. I will say, going through their discography, even though I still think the Presence album is mostly garbage, I appreciate the band more now than I did before diving into the series.
Mhm.
I think I have a better understanding of what made Led Zeppelin such a good band, and I've discovered some hidden gems thanks to you guys. So
All right. So, without further ado, we are going to get to side one, track one, in the evening.
All right, I'm gonna start off on this song, and probably my least. I want to say my least favorite opener, maybe to any Led Zeppelin album. That saying, I can't remember all the openers on top of my mind. I know we've had some really great openers though. Throughout about every album, there's a great opener. It seems like, but man, this is my least favorite song on the album by far. The intro was it's a pretty long song. I'm trying to think now. Was it a 6-7 minute song? I can't remember now, but it felt long.
About 6.5, a little over 6.5.
6.5, yeah.
6:48.
Very long, especially intro. It felt like a really long intro. It took a long time to get into the song, which really was like, oh, this is a bad start. And I thought the vocal work was not very good on this overall. It was not one of my favorite Robert Plant's vocals anyways. And yeah, it was a bad start to the album for me.
I'm surprised you didn't spotlight. Normally you do that.
Oh, shoot, I forgot about the spotlights. Here we go. There we go, Jacob, you're on the
Okay.
spotlight now.
I'm in the spotlight. Woo! Actually, Jason, you surprised me. I thought another song coming up would be your least favorite, so you kind of threw me in for a loop there on this one.
Okay.
But this one, it's not my favorite album opener either. I don't think it's the worst one. I think the one on what's that one? Houses of the Holy, Song Remains the Same is probably my least favorite album opener.
Oh,
This is probably my second to least favorite album opener, but it's still fun. Yeah, the intro is slow moving, but it builds up to a great vocal run from Robert Plant in the evening, and then it just really picks up into high gear. And what's weird, this is one where I can't really understand Robert Plant vocally on this song, except in the evening, and then there's another part where it's like, gonna give you all my love. It was like the only two parts of the song I can pick up on this song, but I do like the rhythm of this song, and I thought it was a good way to open the album, even though it doesn't compete with some of the other album openers, but still a solid track to kick the album off.
man, I guess I like this song more than you guys. I think this song is amazing, especially after getting Snoozer for One on the last album. This when I first heard this, I'm like, "What's this? This is amazing!" Like, you get that moody synthesizer at the beginning, like these mysterious sounds, and then Robert Plant comes in with those vocal effects in the evening, and then Bonham, and then they just get into this really good groove, and John Paul Jones is using a synthesizer on this song. I think that's really cool. I like John Paul Jones's synthesizer use on this album, and I know what you're thinking.
Yeah, well, that's just like your opinion, man.
But it's my opinion, and I'm going to stick to that. I like the extra layers on this album. And I love the guitar parts on here that Jimmy Page is playing. He usually plays a Les Paul, but he was playing a Fender Stratocaster on this one. So he does a lot of whammy bar stuff on this song, which is really cool. Especially that, like that he was just pushing down and letting the strings go up on the whammy bar, and it's this really cool effect. Yeah, I really like the guitar solo. I think it's a really great way to start the album.
All right, In the Evening. This is one I really love this song. It started a really big funny joke for me. Just the opening intro line, In the Evening. And yeah, this song I love. This is great. I mean, the drums are great. Everyone's going well. I feel like Robert Plant is not mixed particularly well on this album. I feel like they mixed him weirdly, and so he doesn't sound very intelligible, except in some places. I kind of pick out things that he's saying, but it's a little complaint, as I don't think Robert Plant is mixed particularly well in this album. Because some of the songs, I mean, All of My Love is an exception because I think he sounds really clear in that song. But this song, and I think like Carousel Alhambra, he sounds kind of muddy. But other than that, this song is really fun. And I think this is one of my favorite openers. There's a host of really great album openers. I don't think there's a bad album opener from Led Zeppelin. Album closers is a different story, but as far as openers is concerned, I don't think there's a bad album opener, and this is one of my favorites.
All right. In the Evening. Just like now.
Yes.
What?
I know. But yeah, I think this is a pretty... Yeah, I enjoyed this one. I think it was a pretty good opening song. I do like the compositions of the guitar, and the drums have a great groove to it, especially when they do come in. Because it is it definitely takes a bit to get started, but once it hits, it really does kick in. You are caught in the groove, and the keyboards, I think they do add a pretty good dimension to the sound here. And I really do enjoy that because you're in that groove, and at one point it kind of slows down a bit, and it kind of gets a bit quieter, and the guitar kind of takes a bit more of a center. Takes more of a presence, has more of a presence here. There you go. But this is a good type of presence. But yeah, it's a pretty. I thought it was a pretty strong opening track. I will agree. And that's probably my big complaint with this album. And a couple of us have already mentioned it, that this is, in terms of Robert's vocals, that he's kind of, there's like, especially on this song, he has a weird effect on his voice. That it is pretty much, it's really hard to really understand what he's saying sometimes. And I've made references that there are times I can't understand him, but this album in particular is where I really couldn't understand what he was saying. And there was one song where I pretty much couldn't give you a word he said. All the other songs I can give like maybe a couple phrases, but there was one song we'll get to where I wouldn't tell you a single word he said. I like, is he even speaking English? But overall, I think it's a pretty solid opening song.
I have a feeling it's going to be Carousel Alhambra.
Probably.
Yeah, this is a. I like this song. It's good. It's a really good opener. Probably it's my second least favorite album opener from them. I still stand by that Black Dog's the weakest album opener, but that's beside the point. We're on this album now. I like it. I'm kind of in agreement with Scott, but I'm in agreement with Jason and Jacob at the same time. It's really good, but there are problems with it. That there are a lot of greats, but there is technical difficulties like the vocals.
Mm-hmm.
It's not the best, but the instrumentation and it's a great song, but it could have been better had it been worked on more.
That's a fair argument. Okay, we are now going to get to track 2, Southbound Suarez.
Yes.
All right. Second song. To me, this is maybe the most underrated song on this album, as far as a song that is not well known or was a radio hit. And I thought it was one of the better songs on the album. I actually quite liked it. I think it had a really good pace to it. It had a nice fast pace to it that I really liked overall. And I really loved the guitar. I thought guitar was really great throughout the song. I thought it was kind of catchy, the guitar parts and instrumentally. I thought it was just great. And yeah, it's one of my favorite on here.
Yeah, I like this song a lot as well. And to me, what made the song really awesome is John Paul Jones. He does an amazing piano part on this track.
Yes, he is.
And to me, that's what makes the song really stand out. That, along with John Bonham, I think it's a really catchy song. Has a good fast pace to it. This one, like Jason already said, this one is pretty underrated, and I think it's one of the better tracks on the album.
I don't think this is one of the better tracks on the album. But there's a but. Okay. It has grown on me exponentially the more I've listened to this album, and it's not my least favorite on the album anymore. I think it's a very fun song, and I love John Paul Jones's rollicking piano playing on here. Kind of got a 1950s feel to it. That dun 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 dun. And then Jimmy Page's guitar comes in really good. John Bonham keeping the drum beat. John Bonham's drumming is always amazing, no matter what the song.
Mm-hmm.
Like you can even T for one. John Bonham's drumming is good on that, even though the rest of the song sucks. But yeah, this song really grew on me, and I don't know why, but I laugh every time Robert Plant just goes Suarez.
All right, Southbound Suarez. Yeah, this song's pretty good. It's fun. Again, yes, it's underrated. It's another really underrated cut. Yeah, I kind of really enjoy the piano as kind of like the main instrument in this song. Mainly because this is one of the few songs written by Jones and Plant. Jimmy Page was not involved in the production, in the writing of this song. So we got a couple of songs on here. This one and All My Love, which are written solely by John Paul Jones and Robert Plant. So yeah, the guitar is mostly a support instrument, and I feel like that's John Paul Jones because it's his album basically. This is the big album where he takes control, so it makes sense that he make Jimmy Page the support person in this album for most of it. Mainly because once he's in charge of this album, because Jimmy Page is very high and not all there, so it makes sense for him to be sidelined.
He doesn't need a stairway to get to heaven. That's how high he is.
True. So, but yeah, this is a fun song. I enjoy it. Yeah, Suarez.
And John Paul Jones says, "We have assumed control."
We have assumed control.
All right. My thoughts on this song. I like it. I'm going to be straight up. It's my least favorite song on the album. But, there's some good things about it. Like, I think the two big things that really stand out is, of course, Jones's piano and Bonham's drums. Really good groove on here. But comparatively, to me, this song just doesn't really stand out to me. It kind of stays the same. It doesn't really change or anything. Kind of stays in that that groove, that feeling, and it's a good feeling. Like it's one of those songs where I'll
so
listen
good.
to, and like in the moment I'm like, okay, I'm grooving it, I'm vibing with it, but then once it's over, I'll like completely forget how it goes. And this song kind of has a disadvantage because it's kind of the next song that follows it up. To me, totally eclipses it. So.
Very true.
Yeah, so again, it's not a bad song. I will say there's no song I don't like on this album, but comparatively, this one just ended up at the bottom. But again, I do like it. It's fine.
Are you trying to tell me that the song remains the same?
Totally.
Nice.
Actually,
Making these grown Led Zeppelin puns.
It was one of those jokes that was so bad it's so good kind of thing.
I'm gonna
That's
see how
off,
many
yeah.
terrible Led Zeppelin puns I can make in this video.
Nice.
Oh,
Okay, Nick, your time is gonna come. Let's go.
Oh my God, Nick, don't have a communication breakdown right now.
these are so bad. These are so bad.
Oh, good times, bad times.
I'm gonna stop. Let's stop rambling on now.
Yeah, Nick's gonna
Okay.
crawl after this.
Otherwise, you're gonna come off again.
Yeah, Oh look, in the light. Okay, let's get back to this. I love this song. This is a great song. This made my top 5. Yes. So yeah, this is another great song from them. Really like it. I love the groove of it. I love the way Plant sings on it. This feels so good. Oh, so good. Bum. And the piano playing's great. This is a fun track. This is probably one of their more fun tracks, and I'm loving every second of it. This is great.
All right. Well, now we are going to get to track number the 3rd, also known as "Fool in the Rain."
All right, yeah. Now we're getting to the good stuff here. This is, I think, probably I want to say like my favorite Led Zeppelin pop song. Like it's just pure fun pop for me.
Yes.
And it's all because of that piano riff that Tyler was doing there. The bum 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 bum. It's so good. It's throughout the whole song, and I love it as it goes on. I just absolutely love that piano riff that goes there, and then mixed up with the drumming. Some of Bonham's best drumming,
Mm-hmm.
and I feel like me and Breyer have talked about this song, and Breyer I think has
Yeah.
said like this his favorite drumming or something like that. So I'll give it to Breyer when it's his turn to talk about the drumming, but it's just absolutely fantastic. Those two things really just drive the song, but also, I mean, yeah, just an absolutely amazing melody throughout, and some of Robert Plant's best vocals. I absolutely love his vocal work here on this song.
Mm-hmm.
And all the love that I found, bum 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 bum. Oh, it just works so perfectly great. And even towards the end, like I feel like there's not just the drums, but there's all these different percussion instruments. I feel like I'm hearing. I don't know what I'm hearing, but I'm like, man, it feels like they just brought out every single percussion instrument they had in the studio and was like going crazy on it. And it was like I love the production value of all the different sounds I'm hearing on this song. And yeah, I absolutely love the song. It's one of my favorite all time.
Yeah, this song is awesome. This is one of the few couple songs I had heard prior to listening to this album because this was a radio hit, and this song is amazing. And even as a radio hit, it doesn't get talked about as much. I know it doesn't get played as much compared to "Stairway to Heaven" or the Immigrant Song, but man, is this song so good. The piano riff, awesome. Thank you, John Paul Jones. I love John Bonham's drumming. There's this really cool section in the middle of the song where it turned into a samba for a couple of minutes. And that part is really cool. I like the congas that are on that, and the piano work on there is amazing. I mean, Jason already mentioned Robert Plant sings great on this song. This is definitely one of their more, I guess, lighter sounding songs compared to some of their other hits, but it's still pretty good. Does get a smile on my face when I listen to this song, and it's definitely one of the highlights on this album.
This is a top 10 Led Zeppelin song for me.
Agreed.
The song is amazing. We got some of Mr. Bonham's best drumming on this song. It's a groove. Like, he could have played just a simple bum bum ba-dum bum ba-dum bum ba-dum bum ba-dum dun 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 dun, but he's got to go like add all these like fancy drum fills in there. And he's got like the weird patterns with the bass drum. It's so cool. I love the riff on here. And then Robert Plant's vocals are very good on this song. I like the storytelling on this song. This guy is standing out on the corner waiting for his date, and it's starting to rain. He's looking at his watch, like, when's she gonna get here? She said she would meet me, and now she's late. And then they find out at the end, she was on time. He was just standing on the wrong corner, so he's got to run over to the right corner to meet her. I love the samba section in the middle. That is amazing. Whenever you get that whistle, and then all the
the whistle
percussion comes in, and then we get to like the ooh, I gotta get over, I gotta get away. And then you just like John Bonham is like this lightning fast drum roll right before, and then you get into the guitar solo. But first you got all those drum fills, and then I know Jimmy Page was on heroin at this time, but he must have been somewhat coherent at the time that he made this guitar solo, because it is amazing. I love the tone that he uses, that fuzzy guitar tone on here. Some great guitar playing there in the middle, and then like the guitar comes in more heavily on the final verse, and it just ends very cool with the boom boom boom. I love this song. It is amazing, and like I said, it's one of my top 10 Led Zeppelin songs. Also, fun story, in Christmas time, during a very busy time at work, it was so busy that to get to work I had to take a bus to get in, and the bus driver was playing the radio and this song came on, and I was very worried about work, but when this song came on it made me feel less worried about work.
Oh my goodness. I love this song so much. This is my favorite song on this album. And yes, this is a top 10 Led Zeppelin song for sure. Oh my goodness. As soon as the song hits you right away with and yes, Robert Plant is very good on this album. He's not mixed weirdly or has some weird vocals effect on his voice. He sounds really good, and man, that drumming is crazy. I've said this to Scott before, but Bonham works for his paycheck. Every single song, doesn't matter how terrible the song is, even on the songs we complained about on Presence, he is working for his paycheck and absolutely going ham on that drum set. But yeah, this is one of his best drumming performances. I think the piano and the bass are really good in here, and Jimmy Page, I guess, has a moment of clarity, and he's not high, so he's going ham on the guitar with that guitar solo. And this song is so good. This is my favorite, and I love the whistle. Oh my goodness, it's such a cool kind of like transitional thing to go into the samba bit, which is so cool. I love the samba section of this song. Yeah, this is my favorite song on the album.
All right. Okay, so in the last song I said that the next song eclipsed it. Well, this is the song that eclipsed the last one. This is a standout song for sure. This was actually their final single they put out while they were still together. It actually went to 21 in the US, so it got pretty high. But yeah, this is a standout song. I mean, we've all talked about before, but I mean, for me, I mean, Bottom really steals the show on this one. Just the drumming pattern, the drumming beat is just so good, it's so memorable, and especially when you hear it isolated. Like you can go on YouTube and find isolated, like the drums completely isolated, and it's just so good. Again, I mean, Scott kind of brought it up a little bit ago, but again, he could have just played it completely straight because this is, in essence, a pop song, but Bonham just chose to chose this very intricate, very precise, very complex drum pattern that but still, you're caught in that groove, and you're just kind of grooving along to it the whole time. And it's just gives this great feeling, and of course, the melody with the guitar and the piano, just really enhances it. And the bass playing, of course, is top notch from Jones. Again, it just has this very feel good nature. Like you just feel good just putting it on. And yeah, and of course the switch up with the whole samba section is just so good. I love it. It's just you just go off on it. I'll even dance in public if I want to, but I didn't that time. But yeah, it was a great section. And of course, Jimmy Page's guitar work on here is top notch. And yeah, this is definitely one of Robert Plant's better. He definitely sounds a lot better on this track than on certain songs here. Yeah, it definitely is a big hit for a reason. You're definitely going to still hear this on the radio. Many times I've heard this song on the radio. I've heard this song in grocery stores a lot of times. But yeah, this is a standout song. It's definitely one of my favorites here.
Hate to be the bearer of bad news, but this is not a top 10 Led Zeppelin song for me. Well, good news is this did make my top 3 at least. I'm looking at my song ranking; it's number 29, so it is pretty high at least. It's really good. I really like it. I know, I guarantee everyone else but me is gonna have it as the best song on the album. I would be in full disagreement on there, but this is a great song. I love the drumming on it. You guys said it already, something pretty well. I don't really have anything else to add though. But yeah, this is a really good song.
Okay, we are now going to get to the final song on the first half of the album, and that is
Hot dog.
Hot Dog.
Yes.
Hot
Dog.
I was kind of hoping Breyer would review the song while eating a hot dog, but
I wish. I had hot dogs last week too.
I
just got steak.
Right.
What a letdown.
Breyer eating a hot dog and reviewing it. That'd be so great. Anyways, yeah, this is kind of, we talked about this before, I think. I feel like we talked about the song quite a bit on the channel. Because the last album we had the Candy Rock Store, I think, or something like that.
Candy Store Rock.
Candy Store Rock. And it was kind of this rockabilly song that we all, I think most of us didn't like.
I say I liked it.
I was going to say Nick liked it, but I think the rest of us didn't like it, if I remember right. One of my least favorite on the album. And so it feels like this is a second chance or second try at rockabilly with this one. And I think this is a much better song than Candy Store Rock, whatever. Yeah, it definitely has interesting. It's definitely a different sound for them. Not when you normally hear. It's got, if I remember right, it's got kind of more of a jangly piano to it. And but it's really fast paced. What I like about the song is it's not very long either. It's only like, I think, a little over 3 minutes long. So it goes by pretty fast. It's paced really good. Gets in, gets out. It's got a nice catchiness to it. Overall, I thought it was actually a decent song.
Just a reminder. The last time Led Zeppelin did Rockabilly, we had "Oh baby, baby, you're oh baby, baby, you look good to eat." Luckily, this song is a heck of a lot better. This one is a goofy song, yes.
Oh yes.
But I think this one embraces the goofiness a lot more. And I actually like the sound of this track. Again, the piano that John Paul Jones brings to this album makes it fun. It's also short and sweet. and it's not trying my patience like Candy Store Rock did. So it's not my favorite on this album, but it's still a really good track. It almost, we talk about rockabilly, but I also felt some country influences on this track as well, especially the way Robert Plant sings on it. Like, this could have been easily a country song, and I wouldn't have minded that. So, yeah, this one's pretty fun. I like this one.
This song is fun. Much like the Crunge, it is way too maligned in the Led Zeppelin discography. Much better than Candy Store Rock, although this one does have its share of cringy lyrics as well. Particularly, I Took Her Love at 17, a little late these days it seems. That's come on, Robert. But I love the piano played by John Paul Jones. And this one is a lot more Elvis-inspired. He's kind of doing kind of an Elvis impersonation when he's singing. And I don't know, I think it's fun. You're not supposed to take this one seriously. It's just kind of a little romp after Fool in the Rain before we get to Carousel Umbra. So that is Hot Dog.
Hot dog. I'm sitting here under the sign that says U-Haul talking about hot dog here. Yeah, some of the lyrics there's a little section where the lyrics are like, that why? But other than that, this song is so much fun. I think this is a really good closer. Yeah, this is one of my. This is a fave. This is a good song. It's definitely not. I have a couple more songs that I would rank above this song, but it's fun. It's goofy, but it's so much fun. I love it.
Okay, so Hot Dog. Now, I've said this before in a couple of these songs. Let's see if you can guess. Let's see if you can fill in the blank. This song is really
Fun.
stupid.
Stupid,
Yes.
yeah.
All right. So yeah, this song is very stupid, but like people have said, it's a lot of fun. It's like another one of those songs where you really can't take it. Like some of us have said, you can't take it seriously. It's there. They're just having fun at this point. It's just harkening back to some good old 50s, maybe a little smidge. There's like a smidge of a country edge, but not too much in it. But yeah, there's some nice guitar playing in here. And I do like the guitar's intro. The intro is actually kind of nice. Again, it didn't make the top 5, but it's a good fun time in the moment. Again, that doesn't overstay its welcome. But yeah, there you go. That's my review on Hot Dog.
Wait, is that a hot dog in the background?
Yep.
It's a cursed hot dog. Oh my goodness.
Why did the hot dog have a face on it?
I
You
can't
made it
zoom in on
creepy.
What is that?
I just pulled up a random video, and I was just scrolling, and while you were all talking, I was just scrolling through trying to find. Okay, I gotta find an image of hot dog.
That
And
goes
I saw
from
that like perfect.
hot dog to hot dog.
Yeah. Well, like, I don't want to eat a hot dog with a face on it.
No.
Hey, that's what they did in Sausage Party.
No. No.
No, let's not
We
talk about
don't
that.
talk about Sausage Party. We don't talk about that. My thoughts on the song. This is one of the worst songs ever. Just kidding. This song sucks.
No, lies, Nick.
No.
I see right through you.
Just kidding.
I do have a cool story. So I was upstate with my father, with his friends. One of his friends' really is a big Rush and a big Led Zeppelin and a big Police fan. He went up to me, and I was the DJ. I was playing the music. He was like, "Play Hot Dog" by Led Zeppelin. I'm like, this was like back when I wasn't really listening to a whole lot Led Zeppelin. I was more familiar with their first 4 albums. I was like, this is like supposedly one of their worst albums from what I heard back then. I'm like, oh no, Hot Dog, supposedly one of the worst songs. And I played it. I'm like, this might be the best song I've ever heard. This song it's so stupid. It's so goofy, but I love it. Now it's not my favorite Led Zeppelin song. Well, I'm going to be doing my top 10 at the end of the video. You'll find out what my favorite Zeppelin song is. but Hot Dog is certainly in my top 10. So everyone's top 10 song is Fool in the Rain. My top 10 song from this album is Hot Dog, and another song from this album.
Wow.
Nice.
Wow. It's an Owen Wilson moment. Okay. Gotta pull it out because it's time. Hold on a second. It's time to flip the record. Hold on. And now it is time for Carousel Alhambra.
All right, Carousel Alhambra, definitely the longest song on this album. It's over 10 minutes long.
Yep.
And usually I have trouble with longer songs. I usually kind of usually pretty harsh on them, but I actually thought the song was actually pretty good. It is a little long. I wish it was shorter, to be honest, but I think the overall instrumentation is really good throughout the song, and it's not bluesy, so that's fine with me. It's got at least, I didn't think it was, so it didn't sound bad at all.
Too long, too bluesy.
What's going on?
You just wanted to pull me up to say that.
I really like the synthesizer on here. I thought it was really good. The bass, I think it's probably the best bass work I've heard on this album. I really heard the bass. I was like, wow, the bass is really killing it here. Drums doing absolutely amazing again. Vocal work, not that great to me, but overall, I thought it was a decent song. It was pretty good.
Uh-oh.
Jason liking this song surprised me. I was like, wow, this must be opposite day because I don't care for this song. I gave it 2 listens, and what's crazy, I looked it up. The longest song Led Zeppelin ever did was In My Time of Dying, and that is my favorite song on Physical Graffiti. I think that song is amazing. But that song had a point to it. It's a song about death, and it's a good rocking tune on that. And I think Led Zeppelin or Robert Plant sung his heart out, and the instrumentation in it was amazing. And I think this is a case where, like, I don't mind long songs per se, but you gotta do something to earn the runtime. And I don't think Carousel Alhambra did that. It's just 10 minutes of meandering nonsense. Yes, the playing on it is good, but the whole time I was like, what am I listening to? Like, what is the point of this song? Like, Robert Plant's vocals are mixed terribly on this song.
Yeah.
And so I was like, I'm struggling to get what this song actually is. And both times I was like, I don't get this song, which is weird because I used to say the same thing with Kashmir, but the more I've listened to Kashmir, the more I've really appreciated that song to where now I'm a fan of that song. I don't know if I'll ever get there with Carousel Alhambra with the different sections and the different parts of the song. It's like, I'm not sure about this one. I don't care for this one, and my rating for this album will be affected because a 10-minute rocker that just came off as meandering nonsense. And this is coming from somebody who listened to Supper's Ready this past week and liked that song. So
Yeah.
So there you go. I don't care for this one.
Wow. I'm gonna have the exact opposite.
That was a heartbreaker right there.
That's heartbreaking.
Well, that's the way. That's the way it ought to be.
That's the way it ought to be.
We're all friends here.
Anyway, man, When I first heard this song, I was like, "What is this?" Because to me, this is the single most underrated song in Led Zeppelin's entire discography for me. Yes, Robert Plant's voice is mixed kind of weird, and you can't understand what he's saying, but it's epic. Like, you got that. I think that's a really cool synthesizer riff. And John Bonham. Like, every 5 seconds, he's doing a big drum roll like that. And then you get to like that. That's really cool. And then it slows down, and you get to the and then you get with the bass. The bass playing on this is amazing. You get that middle section, which is a lot slower, and then you get to my favorite part. It takes a while to get to. My favorite part is the disco jam at the end. Man, it's so funky. I like the synthesizers. John Paul Jones's bass is amazing. Yeah. John Bonham is killing it on the drums, and then you get that like, this was one of my most listened to songs last year. In fact, I would say it was probably my second most. Probably the second best song I discovered last year after the Rain song. Like, I'm very sorry, Jacob, but like, I think this song is amazing. And you definitely have your opinion to think that it's not as good, but like, I thought this song was really cool whenever I first heard it, and I think it's super underrated.
Ursula Lambert. Oh my goodness. What a great way to open. This probably should have been the last song on the album, in my opinion, maybe.
Yeah.
There's another song that I think could have been a good contender for last song, rather than the actual last song on the album. But yeah, this is John Paul Jones's Stairway to Heaven, or John Paul Jones's version of Aquila's Last Stand, big epic. And yeah, I like how it's like divided into 3 different sections to like pad out the runtime. You got the big fast-paced Jones and Bonham and Robert Plant. And yeah, Robert Plant, I have to criticize this track is Robert Plant. It's not that his vocals are bad, his fault, but it's the way that it was mixed.
It's nobody's fault but his.
It's not his fault. Jimmy Page mixed this album.
Well, high, probably.
So whatever he did with the vocals, I'm not sure. And even reviews at the time, it's like Plant mumbling inaudible inanities for about 60% of the song. It's one of the reviews I've seen on it. It's like, I mean, they have a point, because I don't really know what he's saying, to be honest. But the rest of the song is really cool. And I guess we got a cool guitar bit in the second side, the slower section. And then the disco jam is so fun. I love the disco jam. I found a video where it has this song, but it's just the bass and the drums isolated. And my goodness, especially during the disco jam, you take away the synthesizers, it's funky. Oh my goodness. And I did post it on our group chat, so any of y'all can listen to it. But this was really good. But this song is a lot of fun, very epic, and very cool.
All right, yeah, I enjoy this song as well. Yeah, this was another standout moment. And I'm just gonna get out of the way. This is definitely Robert Plant at his most. I can't understand what he's saying.
Yes.
Yeah, it's definitely the weakest part of the song. Like, he's not only is he so muddy, he's also mixed pretty low, so he's almost like buried in the mix. Like, you can't, like, he's kind of, yeah, all the music, all the instruments are going on, but then you kind of faintly hear Robert back there. Like, he's trying to sing over all that. So that's the only weak part of the song, but musically it's top notch. Again, the keyboard intro, just a very fun, very good, catchy riff to it. And again, we all mentioned Bonham's drumming. Like, yep, he is going to town on the drums. Really beating him down there. And it just has this very good driving rhythm to it, which I dig. And even the guitar playing underneath is pretty nice. And even of course we also mentioned Jones's bass playing, definitely definitely one of the shining bass moments on the album. Is on this track. And then we have the slower section, the second section, which is where it kind of slows down, it mellows out, and then this is where Page kind of gets to shine a little bit, and you're kind of almost entranced by it. You're kind of taken by it. It's just brings you have a real, almost hypnotic feel to it, which is very nice. And then you have the third section, which again we all talked about how great, how funky, just all the band coming back in, and the keyboards are really prevalent here. But yeah, it's a long song, but yeah, it doesn't overstay. I don't think it's boring at all. I think I get what Jacob's saying. Yeah, I don't know what they're talking about, but it's kind of just like you're kind of just in for the ride. So yeah, I think it's a very entertaining track. It's definitely a highlight for me.
Sorry, Jacob, you're in the heavy minority on this one. I love the song as well. This is an epic track. I'm just gonna go out and say this is easily the best song on the album. It's so cool. It's so intricate. I love the synth playing. This is essentially John Paul Jones's "Stairway to Heaven," except I like it way better than "Stairway to Heaven." This is a great song. It's funny. There's two songs that follow this song that's not as long as this song, but I feel like it feels a lot longer than this song. I'll go over that when we get there. But yeah, this is an epic track. I love the synth playing. That's like the big thing is the synth playing. I feel like if they were to make another album after this in the 80s, this is what it would have sounded like, and I'm all for it.
Yeah, I've seen. Before I move on, apparently on if you have the deluxe edition, you can find it online. But apparently, the rough mix of this song, you can hear Robert Plant a lot clearer.
Oh, okay.
The rough mix isn't as rough. Who would have known?
The
I guess
deluxe-
Jacob is kind of in Jason's position from his thoughts on No Quarter. Okay, our
The
next.
Burns, my friend.
Yes. How the timetables have turned. It's a little Genesis reference for a video coming up later this week. But our next song is going to be All of My Love.
Yeah, All My Love. Oh my gosh, what a great song. Fool in the Rain, I say, is my favorite pop song here. This is probably my second favorite Led Zeppelin pop song. It has almost a ballad sense to it, but I guess you'd say it's a pop song mostly. And it's really three things, but two things I absolutely love. The synthesizer, whatever here with that bum 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 bum, whatever that, I can't do it justice, but the way that synth piano, whatever you call it, comes in at the beginning, how it starts that way, and it's that way throughout the whole song. That synth, that same kind of riff, absolutely love it. Sounds amazing. And then you add Jimmy Page's guitar playing in it, and it's not really out there flashy, but it's so amazing. And it's just like these little bends, I guess, that he does. It sounds like he's just like barrel. He's just like this cool bend sound that he's like it's just these simple notes that I'm guessing he's just bending, and then little guitar licks here and there. And those two things I absolutely love, and what makes the song so great, I think, is that synth and Jimmy Page's guitar playing. Just those two combined, so great. And then you also have to add Robert Plant's vocals. Like I said, Fool in the Rain, some of his best vocals. This is the other song, I think, that the vocals were just absolutely amazing. And what makes Led Zeppelin so great, of course, that unique Robert Plant sound. And I love the verses. He's singing very, it's kind of soft. He's not putting a lot into it, but it sounds great. He's a little low key. And then you get to that chorus and he ramps it up for that. All of my love, all of my love. And I love the chorus. Chorus is just absolutely amazing. Rob Plant's vocals just really killing it there. And then even towards the end, Rob Plant is really, to me, there's almost crescendo in his vocals. And when you get to that end, he's really putting it all out there. And you're like, oh my gosh, these vocals are so good. This melody is so good. It is one of the catchiest songs that they've ever done, and I absolutely love it.
All right. So this is the other song from this album I was familiar with. Believe it or not, I've heard this song more on the radio than I have "Fool in the Rain," and I think "Fool in the Rain" was like the only official hit song from this album. But like this is a favorite on classic rock stations, and I think that's pretty cool. And I didn't realize until very recently it was brought to my attention that this was the song that Robert Plant wrote for his son that tragically died.
Yeah.
I thought this was just a random love song that he was singing to like a lover or something like that. But I think in that context, it makes the song a lot more meaningful. And I think I appreciate the song more knowing that. I think there's a little bit more emotion to it that I wouldn't have got had I had not known what the song was written about. So that's why Plant's vocal work in this song, especially in the chorus, is absolutely incredible. The honor of my love. But on top of that, I didn't mention the synthesizer in Carousel Ombra because I was kind of mixed on how it was used in that song. Yeah, it's a cool effect, but it was a little obnoxious to me on that song, especially on like the first section. But I like the use of the synth in this song. I think it adds to, I think, the overall style of this track very well. I like how it's used to open the song. And there's a cool synth solo on this track that John Paul Jones does that's absolutely amazing. And it's like, I think musically, that and the piano riff in "Fool in the Rain" are the two biggest musical highlights on this album. I think this is an absolutely stellar song, and it's definitely another highlight from such an underrated album.
This song is amazing for several reasons. First off, the meaning behind it. Like, Robert Plant's son died. Like, that's terrible. And then this is the song that he came up with. Which, what's really messed up is that when Robert Plant had his funeral for his son, the only one who showed up was Bonham. Peter Grant, Jimmy Page, and John Paul Jones didn't even show up. Bonham's the only one who showed up. So, like, if you can imagine that awful tragedy happened, and, like, the guys that you're apparently closest to, several of them don't even show up for the funeral.
Yeah, it makes sense. I know Robert and Bonham were very close.
So you can kind of feel that emotion in this song, the tragedy that's happened. And even from the opening line, it's like, it's like something like, would I forsake my life to chase a feather in the wind? The feather was his symbol from Led Zeppelin 4, so it's basically saying, like, I wasted my time, I should have been with my son, and I was off doing band stuff.
Yeah.
And so kind of lamenting on that. You can feel the emotion in his voice on this song. Very powerful. John Paul Jones's synthesizer solo is amazing. It almost sounds like something that Beethoven would compose. Especially that part. And then you get this really cool thing where he's just doing these arpeggios, and Jimmy Page is playing this nylon guitar solo. He's just like on the string sound, and then it's like on like a nylon classical guitar. Musically, very interesting song, and of course, just the emotion Robert Plant puts into it.
All right. Yes, this is another song I really like on this album. All My Love is such a touching tribute to Carrick Plant. And yeah, it's very unfortunate that Bonham was the only guy that showed up. You know, even though John Paul Jones, this is the other song written by only Jones and Plant on this album. And maybe this was Jones's way of apologizing and trying to make up for him not being there at the funeral. Because I've heard that he was like on vacation or something, and then he gave some sort of response or so. I'm not sure why, but yeah, he was not there, and I don't think Peter Grant and Jimmy Page were all high and not coherent and didn't know what was going on. But yeah, it's very sad, and I feel like this band comes to a very bitter and sad end with Carrick Plant and John Bonham. And I wish that this was the last track on the album, kind of like as a tribute to Robert Plant's son, and kind of like unfortunate foreshadowing for John Bonham, and the kind of like the final years of his life, and in his untimely death. But I love this song. This is a highlight. I wish this was the last song on the album, and not the actual last song, in my opinion. But yes, the synthesizer solo is very fun, and that's is the good stuff. And yes, this is Robert Plant's best vocals on the album, and it makes sense because he's singing it for his little boy. He was only like 5 years old when he died. They were off in America touring at the time during the Presence tour, 1977. They were in America and they had to immediately stop. They just left. But I could tell that Robert Plant probably had a lot of guilt being, he couldn't be there for his son who was sick and who died. And the whole thing is just so sad. And yeah, you can see that, the lyrics. Should I fall out of love, my fire in the light, change a feather in the wind. And it's very heartfelt and sad, and you feel kind of sad with them. But yeah, I love this.
All right. Yeah, I don't have much else to add to it. Everyone else has pretty much said it best. But yeah, this is definitely a big highlight. Yeah, and especially when you know the meaning, it definitely, to me, it elevates it a lot more. And yeah, the musicianship is just sets the tone perfectly. I mean, you have the keyboard riff from Jones. It just has this very melancholic feel, which I think it really shines. And I do agree what Tyler just said. I think this is probably Robert's best vocals on the album. Again, you just hear the emotion he's really pouring into it. And so, yeah, I mean, yeah, I don't have much else to add, but yeah, there's some good bass playing too. I think the bass playing on the track is also pretty good. And I do like near the end, you have that key change. I think when they switch keys, I think brings the song to a nice finish. This is actually the other, yeah, and this is the other song that Page was not too involved in, but I think I do like the little bits that Page did put in, like the little guitar was nice. And Bottom keeps a nice steady beat. Doesn't go too flashy on this one, which is pretty appropriate given the subject matter. But yeah, overall, this is a really great song.
I hate to be so negative about this, but I never cared for this song. I don't like the song. I respect the message of it, and I respect that Jimmy Page agreed to having this as a single to pay respects to Robert Plant's son, but I don't like this song. Never did, never will. It's just so repetitive. Oh, my love. Never liked it. I'm sorry. And this being constantly played on the radio made it worse. I'm sorry. I just never cared for this song.
Fair enough.
Well, here we go. It's the final Led Zeppelin song. We went from Good Times, Bad Times as the starter, and we're going to close with I'm Gonna Crawl.
All right. Well, In the Evening was my least favorite song on this album. This is my second least favorite song on the album, I'm Gonna Crawl. Which is unfortunate that my two least favorite songs are the opener or closer of the album. I agree. All of My Love I thought would have been a better closer personally. I would agree with that. And I don't know, this song just felt a little slow moving to me. It was a little boring at times. I'll say the saving grace of the song is the guitar solo is really great. I love the guitar solo here, and it almost kind of saves the song. It definitely makes it not a terrible song by any means, but it's one of my least favorite here.
All right. So, based on the context of what I've heard so far around this song, I think this is a song not too many people like. Well, I think I'm in the minority on this. I actually really like this song. Uh, this song, I was not sure at first because Presence ended on a slow ballad, and that ended up being T for One, which, in my opinion, is their second worst song.
Yeah.
It was that boring. They decided to end it on another slow moving ballad this time, and it started. I'm like, oh, this is gonna be T for One all over it again. And then Robert Plant starts going. He starts like really belting it, going, "I'm gonna grow," and I'm like, oh, he's really into it this time. See, he was phoning it in on the last album closer, and I was really vibing with this song. Like, I think this song has some great vocal work from Robert Plant. Probably some of his best vocal work on the album, along with All My Love. This has probably the best guitar work from Jimmy Page on this album. See, I didn't talk much about him because he was kind of in and out of it, but he does really great on this song. I think it's a good, slow-moving ballad that has a lot of energy to it. No, it's not Since I've Been Loving You, but I think this one works in its own right. And yeah, maybe, yeah, All My Love probably should have been the better closer. That's a great song to close the album, but for what we got, yeah, I really like this one too. I'll take this over T for One, Hats Off to Roy Harper, and Sick Again. I think this is a better album closer than those three songs, so I'll die on a hill on that.
I like this song. I just don't love it, is the thing. The main reason why is because it's the closer. If it was anywhere else in the album, and not just the closer of the album, it's the closer to Led Zeppelin's entire discography. Like, it would work well elsewhere in the album, but as the big closer, the finisher to Zeppelin's discography, it leaves a lot wanting. Well, it's a wanton song. Another bad.
Oh, brother. This guy stinks.
What a piece of junk.
But it leaves you wanting a lot. Like, I really like the way Robert Plant does like a soulful voice on this. I like John Bonham's drumming. I like the guitar playing. I love the synthesizer intro. It's a really good song. It's just, when you want the final Led Zeppelin song, I think this one just does not sound like the final Led Zeppelin song. All of My Love would have been a better choice. There's lots of outtakes from the sessions that they could have put on this album that would have been a really good closer, which we'd talk about if we ever decide to review Coda someday. But it's just, this is a very lacking big grand finale, in my opinion.
I will second that. I like this song. I'm Gonna Crawl. Very soul. It's again kind of returning to their bluesy. It's kind of the only bluesy song on this album, I think. Bluesy, very soul music. It's the style. It says here, Plant arranged the track to be like the style that of Wilson Pickett and Otis Redding. It's kind of like an old school soul song. But yeah, it's pretty good. Jimmy Page goes out on a high note on this album for him being pretty much sidelined the entire time. He really gets this time to really shine on this song, which is really cool. And I like the synth intro and kind of the more relaxed bluesy soul feel. But yeah, I wish they had switched All My Love and I'm Gonna Crawl, so that All My Love was the last song. It would have been a much more meaningful ending track for Led Zeppelin. But I'm Gonna Crawl. It's just okay. It's fine.
All right. So I enjoyed this one. Yeah, I think musically is pretty good. And Page definitely is a lot more present on this one. He definitely gets some time to shine. And again, I say this is another one of Robert Plant's better vocals on here. I mean, like Jacob said, he definitely gives it his all on this. Gives it more on this one. And yeah, I mean, there are times where he gets more intense as well. And this probably has, and it probably is good because this is pretty much the last time you'll hear Robert Plant really scream in his higher register. So it's probably nice they kind of closed it. They kind of had that in there. And yeah, is this like the biggest finale Led Zeppelin deserves? Maybe, maybe not. But for what it is, I think it's a solid note to go out with. Definitely didn't make the top 5. It's kind of somewhere in the middle, but yeah, I enjoyed this one. I do think this was a pretty nice song.
Just like the last song, I don't like it. Is another not so good. I don't care for a song. Closes out on really 2 week. It closes on 2 really not so good songs. Whenever I listen to this album, I always end after Carousel Umbra. I don't care for these last 2 songs. I think one is repetitive and annoying, and this one's just really, really boring. Like, I like a couple of you guys were complaining about the length of Carousel Umbra, but I feel like these last 2 songs feel a lot longer than that one song did. Don't care for these last 2 songs.
Well, technically, he is right. If you combine the run times of All My
No, I
Love,
mean, like individually. You don't have to be
short
smart,
song.
Tyler.
Yeah.
Mr. Smarty Pants.
Well, that's it.
Yo,
We have completed our journey through Led Zeppelin's discography. How does it feel? In the words of Bob
we're
Dylan.
finally done.
It seems like it's been forever since we started this series.
It's because we at first weren't doing one a week. We did one, then we went and did other videos, and then came back to it. But once we started doing one a week, it went by a lot faster. But yeah, so we have finished the Led Zeppelin discography.
Are we gonna rank all the songs on the album? Sorry to interrupt.
Yes. Instead of
Yeah,
top
since
5,
there's
let's
only-
rank all of them since there's only 7 on there.
Yeah.
And I'm not gonna do the zoom in.
Okay,
Alright.
Jason could go first.
All right. Number 7, I have In the Evening. Number 6, I'm Gonna Crawl. Number 5, Carousel. 4, Hot Dog.
Oh,
3, Southbound Suarez.
Suarez.
2, All of My Love. And number 1, Fool in the Rain.
All right. Number 7, Carousel Umbra.
Oh,
Number 6, In the Evening. Number 5, Hot Dog.
dog.
Number 4, Southbound Suarez. I'll probably have this one at the highest. Number 3, I'm Gonna Crawl. Number 2, All My Love. Number 1, Fool in the Rain.
All right.
Alright. Number 7, I'm Gonna Crawl. Number 6, Southbound Suarez. And number 5, Hot Dog. Number 4, In the Evening. Number 3, All of My Love. Number 2, Carousel Umbra. And number 1, Fool in the Rain.
All right. 3 for Fool in the Rain.
That's all right. Need to be repetitive, but I'm gonna go number 7. I'm Gonna Crawl. Even though I still kind of like this song. It's not as good as the other songs. Number 6. I'm this last listen I did, this most previous listen, this right before, depending on whether I want Hot Dog to be number 6 or I want Southbound Suarez to be number 6. But Hot Dog is so stupid and so much fun, and that kind of puts it up above Southbound Suarez a little bit for me. Although I still really like Southbound Suarez, so we'll go 6 for Southbound Suarez, and then 5 is going to be Hot Dog, and then number 4 for me will be let's see, we'll go with All My Love for number 4, and then just for pure fun, In the Evening
Okay.
at number 3, and then Carousel Lambert at 2, and then Fool in the Rain at 1. So we're 4 for Fool in the Rain at number 1.
All right, my turn. Okay, number 7 is going to be Southbound Suarez.
Yes.
Number 6, Hot Dog. Number 4, I'm Gonna Crawl.
Number
5.
5.
I'm Gonna Crawl.
Yeah.
Yes.
Number
Sorry,
5.
I can't count. I blame Southbound Suarez. Number 5 is I'm Gonna Crawl. Number 4, In the Evening. Number 3, Carousel Alhambra. Number 2, All of My Love. And number 1, Fool in the Rain.
I thought hot dog would be
Okay.
number 1 for you.
Number 7, I'm Gonna Crawl. The song Crawls. It's boring as hell. Number 6, All My Love. Extremely repetitive. Should have never been a hit. Number 5, Southbound. No, wrong. Number 5, In the Evening. Number 4, I agree with Jacob. Southbound Suarez. Number 3, Fool in the Rain. So yeah, I didn't agree with anyone that this is the best song on the album. Number 2, Hot Dog. Yes, I think this is better than Fool in the Rain. It's so dumb and goofy, I can't ever not like it. This is not because people hate it. I just like it so much. I can't not like it. Number 1, Carousel Alhambra. This song is epic. Very, very epic. I disagree with you heavily, Jacob, but I respect your opinion as a friend. So
I feel like I'm Jason tonight.
Yeah.
I'll
Yeah.
take it. I'll take it like a friend.
Hey, yo.
Yeah. You guys are on the opposite.
But yeah, that's my song ranking.
Okay, what is the score out of 10?
Yeah, so obviously the top 2 songs are just absolutely some of the best Led Zeppelin stuff, and that really helps the score overall, since there's not that many songs here. And there's really only one really bad song, I think, In the Evening. I mean, I'm Gonna Crawl, not great. And there's some decent stuff there. So I settled on an 8 out of 10.
Okay. I'm going to go 8 out of 10 as well. I think
Oh.
this is a really underrated album. I think I would have given it a 9 out of 10, but Carousel Alhambra, not the biggest fan of that. That kind of prevented me from giving it a 9. But there's some really good stuff on this album. I think it's a heck of a lot better than Presence. I don't get why some people hate this album. I think it's pretty good. They do some different stuff on it. And there's some great hidden gems on this album. And I'm the one dude that likes I'm Gonna Crawl. So that's a hidden gem.
I'm going to give it a 9.25.
Okay.
I definitely liked it more when I first was listening to it. I probably would have given like a 9.75 then. Went down a few points. Still really like it though. It's probably not going to be in my top 3 Led Zeppelin albums. It may have been back when I first listened to it. But it's still a solid album and it's very underrated.
All right, my turn. I'm giving this 9.5 out of 10. If we had some of those Coda outtakes on this album, this would probably be like a 9.75, easy. If you replace I'm Gonna Crawl, Southbound Suarez, and put in some of those outtakes like Darlene or Ozone Baby or Wearin' and Tearin', and you have an easy 9.75 or even a 10 out of 10 album. But I'm Gonna Crawl. It's okay. It's a good song, and Southbound Suarez is pretty fun. Not very memorable, but fun. And then the other big criticism is Robert Plant not mixed very well in some of these songs. You can't really understand what he's saying, especially in the Evening and most definitely in Carousel Alhambra. Well, I have no idea. Sometimes I can pick out what he says, but it's just like, what's going on here? What's he saying? But yeah, 9.5 out of 10 is my score for this album.
All right. So I'm going to give this a solid 9.
Nice.
Just a straight 9. This is a pretty good album. I think this is a pretty solid album for them to go out with. yeah, even the songs I have, even my bottom two songs, I don't hate. I do like them, but just aren't one of my personal favorites. But yeah, I think there's still some good playing on here. There's some good more catchy melodies here, and yeah, the production's not their absolute best. But I think the songwriting kind of helps saves the album. And yeah, overall, very good album.
Okay, doing the average and all that. Okay, I'm done. So I've said this in the past. So the way I rate an album is kind of like how it is, kind of in court with you're innocent until proven guilty. For me, it's you're a 10 out of 10 album until proven otherwise. So first 5 songs, staying it at 10 out of 10. All My Love being awful and garbage and being overplayed brings it down half a point. And I'm Gonna Crawl is so boring and awful, and it had to be the last song on the album, so that brings it down another half point. So we're going 9 out of 10 for this one.
All right,
Wow,
cool.
this has really been a great journey through these 8 studio albums here when we started last November, I think. Really enjoyed going through this series with you guys. If you don't know, our next series, or the main one we're going to be doing with everybody, is going to be Rush. But first we're going to go to California with the Beach Boys, with Nick, Jacob, Jason, and I, which is going to be probably 2 weeks from today because we're doing the Rolling Stones next week. But we'll have the Beach Boys, and then we'll have our Rush video. But super excited for our next series. Until next time, remember, music is art, art is expression, and we'll see you guys in the next video.